Good afternoon. I'm William Baxter, and this is Short Story Time Theater with William Baxter. A lot of my stories and interpretive readings have been from my book, Web Tales, but the last couple of readings I've been doing are from blog articles that will be published in my book, Web Treasury 2022, which will be coming out close to Christmas time this fall. Today's story, interpretive reading, is True Desires of the Heart. And it's the story that unlocks the mystery of why I've remained single all my life and never had any girlfriends. And now I'm 66 years old and retired. This is the story behind all this. True Desires of the Heart by William Edwin Baxter, that's me. I am 66 years old, and I am retired civilian contract worker out at the Army post at Fort Carson in Colorado. I am a 30-year member of Toastmasters International, where I'm a distinguished Toastmaster, DTM. That's the highest achievement level in Toastmasters. I am a children's author of over 120 books, and I am a holiday recorded artist. I will be 67 in 4 months, and during the 67 years I have been on this planet, I never once married, nor have I ever had children of my own. In my later years, I have learned to be content with my marital status, no matter whether it was married or single. In my younger years, however, the 1970s, the 1980s, and the first half of the 1990s, I used to be obsessed with fulfilling a marital status in my life. I offered up my prayers to God that He would give me the desire of my heart. The result was I never married. But God did grant me the desire of my heart. That is the true desire of my heart. What was the true desire of my heart? It was that when I marry, it would be a marriage that would last until death do us part, which is always mentioned in a wedding ceremony. Deep down, if it would be a marriage that would wind up in divorce, I didn't want that in my life. First off, marriages of today, which last until one spouse passes on, has become more and more scarce. Almost 50% of marriages end up in divorce or separation. I have disabilities which would have made a lifelong marriage to a soulmate very difficult to impossible. I was born with developmental disabilities, but my family mainstreamed me in society to give me as much of a shot at a normal life as possible. Throughout my youth, I pretty much lived under a smokescreen. While I was living in the Washington, D.C. area, I attended my alma mater, Thomas S. Wooten High School. I served as a varsity manager for varsity football, varsity wrestling, and the track squad. The coaches grew to like me a great deal, and the athletes, which looked up to these coaches and who normally treated people like me as social outcasts, grew to like me as well, and the rest of the school followed suit. During my senior year at Wooten High, I was very popular in school. That year had a positive effect on the rest of my life. My senior year in high school did give me an edge I needed to excel in life and not let my disabilities defeat me in life. However, I was not as cognizant of my disabilities as I should have been. For a while, I lived under a big man on campus persona, a smokescreen. Because of this, I felt that I shouldn't have had any problems pleasing members pleasing members of the opposite sex or finding a soulmate. I was out of touch with most of my disabilities, but unfortunately, women were not. My big man on campus mentality made me come off as arrogant to the opposite sex, particularly any ladies I showed an interest in. I got nasty letters from them more than once. I later learned that the meaning of the Bible verse which states, God makes all things beautiful in his time. Sometimes I wonder why I didn't break away from the big man on campus persona a whole lot sooner in my life. Again, the confidence in myself I obtained at Thomas S. Wooten High School gave me the edge I needed to go above and beyond my disabilities and achieve great things and inspire others. In 1996, I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. Before I thought I had so many quirks stemming from my hyperactivity, which is now called attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD. But after learning I had TS, I began to break away from the smokescreen that I was living under, and my obsession over finding a soulmate began to have less and less of a hold on my life. After Y2K, my obsession for finding a bride was completely gone. But TS was not the only thing which made me developmentally disabled. There were other things that I would learn about myself, but not until after I moved to Colorado in August of 2010. Right after my move to Colorado Springs from Orange County, California, I learned from my family that on October 11th, 1954, the day I was born, I got stuck in childbirth. In the 1950s, doctors were very apprehensive about doing C-sections, and so I was pulled out with a pair of forceps, which did considerable damage to the central nervous system. Therefore, Tourette syndrome was not the only thing which rendered me intellectually and developmentally disabled, which is labeled I/DD. A year after that, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which can limit the chances of a marriage lasting until death do you part. Had I married earlier on in my life, it is likely that the marriage would have ended up in divorce. And since until death do you part was the true desire of my heart, God did answer my prayers after all. I didn't even find out about the forceps or bipolar disorder until after my 55th birthday. Since I have lived in Colorado Springs, I have been living under my true persona, and I have become a self advocate in hopes to help others go above and beyond their disabilities and achieve great things in their lives. My relationship with women has been a lot better than it was in California when I was living under the big man on campus smokescreen. A marriage lasting until death do you part was not possible when I was young, mostly because of my disabilities, which I wasn't in touch with. But in my golden years, I have become a lot wiser now, and I have been living as my true self. Since I have reached that point in my life has been a whole lot more successful. I'm not as arrogant as I was before, and a lasting marriage is now more of a strong possibility. God does grant the true desires of our hearts. Thank you for listening to my story today on Short Story Time Theater with William Baxter. And I will be back with more stories on my YouTube channel, which is entitled William E. Baxter Baritone. And I will be back with more live stream recordings and uploaded videos of folk songs, campfire songs, and praise songs, which I like to sing. So please enjoy the rest of my channel and tell others about this story. And if you haven't yet done so, please click the red subscribe button down at the bottom of the screen so you can receive more updates to William E. Baxter Baritone, my YouTube channel. You all have a good afternoon now.